I have to start off this review with one keynote. This movie did not live up to my expectations. It took those expectations, it kicked them to the curb, slapped me across the face, and told me, buckle up, Buttercup, because you're in for the ride of your freaking life. Let's hit them streets. How's it going, everyone? It's your boy Jose, aka TheNYCGeek, aka TNG, aka the guy who is here to say that after 4 long years, my favorite film within the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been dethroned. That's right. I didn't think there could be a movie I loved more in the MCU than Guardians of the Galaxy 2. By the way, RIP Yondu. Forever, forever RIP. Which I have long held as the best MCU film out there. Long, long time. My original favorite film before Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was Guardians of the Galaxy 1. But I'm sorry to say, for Guardians fans, Spider-Man No Way Home has taken the crown. Now, before I get into anything, absolutely want to, do not worry. Do not worry. This is an absolutely spoiler-free review. I will not mention a damn thing that has not been shown in the trailers. I don't want to ruin anything. I want you guys to go see this movie. I want everybody to enjoy it the way I did. So there will not be a single spoiler. I'll be uploading a more in-depth discussion on the film hopefully next week, but this is going to be spoiler free and safe. Okay. And I was not kidding. I came into it hyped for sure, but cautiously, because I am a huge Spider-Man fan, but more so, I am a massive Peter Parker fan. And I mentioned this a while back in my reaction and thoughts to the original No Way Home trailer. I love Spider-Man. But like a lot of people who grew up with the character, it was Peter I resonated with. The guy under the mask who had grown up ostracized and bullied and derided just because he didn't share the same interests as everybody else. He didn't look the same way as them, and that he always felt so alone. I, like many others, could and have related to that character, and I could see myself in that character. And for a long time, while I enjoy the previous two films in the Spider-Man Home, trilogy, Homecoming, Far From Home, and now this one. But in the previous two films, for a long time, I wasn't too pleased with everything in them, particularly Spider-Man himself. And in this film, it felt like the first real time we got Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Not Spider-Boy, not Spider-Kid living under Tony Stark's shadow. We finally get to see Tom Holland become the Spider-Man character that we know in more ways than one. And I could not tell you how fucking touching it was. This movie didn't just nostalgia bait you or go for the cheap laughs. There is serious drama happening here, things that will make you gasp, that will bring tears to your eyes. It is a lot darker than the previous movies, and I'm glad that they went that way. We finally got that gravitas, and that's one of the things that I want to touch briefly on is nostalgia. Because that's a word nowadays that I see a lot of people mention in a negative light, as if having or remembering the past and having a sentimentality towards it somehow traps you in it. No, you can easily appreciate the past, remember it fondly, and still look forward. And this movie does that. It obviously has characters that feature in the previous two Spider-Man universes. Characters we've seen in the trailers, such as Dr. Octopus, Electro, the Lizard, Sandman, Green Goblin. But it does those characters justice. It doesn't just throw them on screen. Like, they're not on there on screen to get you to go, ooh, I remember that. Like you gobbled up some remember berries from South Park. No, they have screen time. They have lines. They have motivations, goals. This movie fit so much, so fucking much. And it did it in a coherent manner. And I cannot tell you how worried I was that this movie was going to be a clusterfuck mess of a story. And it wasn't. It wasn't. And that was one of the greatest takeaways from this movie. And I just thought about it when I was coming home. I just banged my knee on the desk. This movie brought out in me a feeling of wonder. That's I think the best word for it. That I haven't felt in a while, or I should say I've only felt it twice in the MCU. The first time was in the first Avengers film. And it's the scene right after the Hulk, like, when Banner's like, I'm always angry, and he punches the space whale, and all the, Chitauri, I think that's the name of the aliens, they're screaming down at the Avengers, and then the camera spins around and shows the entire team assembled, back to back with each other. That was the first time. The second time was in Endgame, right before the huge climactic battle, when the portals start opening and all those characters reunite together. All these characters of after, however many movies it was, are finally sharing the same space together, because they didn't really do that in Infinity War. They had, the crossovers here and there, but in pockets. This was the first time they were together in a line. And this movie gave me that feeling. It gave me the sense of wonder that I was watching something I never thought I would see on screen. I never thought a crossover of this magnitude could happen. And not just happen, but turn out so fucking amazing. To watch characters interact with each other, even from their same universe, but never could because their movies were separate. Like Doc Ock and Green Goblin, or Sandman talking to Electro, two different universes. Make no mistake about it. This was an ambitious crossover that, again, it could have easily been a disaster, and it turned out incredible. And that's what I want you to take from this review most of all. That's the most important thing. I am extremely harsh and cynical, especially with comic book movies, especially with them. Like, sometimes people give comic book films like a pass or even a lower bar, as if somehow the subject matter that the movies are being adapted from are incapable of being actual cinema. No, shut the fuck up. No. Comics have weaved wonderful stories for decades. Okay, so saying that a film is based off of a comic book film should not automatically say, it doesn't have to be as good. No, they can be as good, because this stuff, the source material here, there's the source material. The source material has been phenomenal. Not always. I'm not saying every single comic line or every issue. I'm just saying that the source material has already shown that it could be amazing. There's no reason that these films can't be held to that same standard. And I'm going to tell you that it did. And I am extremely critical of content involving my favorite superhero, Spider-Man. And I came out of that theater overjoyed. Overjoyed, because not just because it wasn't a mess, but mainly because, in my opinion, it righted the wrongs of what I thought there were in regards to the MCU Spider-Man. And for the first time since watching the original Sam Raimi film back in 2002, I left thinking, holy shit, just saw Spider-Man on the big screen. 20 years ago, I still remember, or close to 20 years, I still remember watching that movie for the first time at the Pavilion in Park Slope, sitting on the aisle floor, because there wasn't any sitting room. Everybody was. And 20 years from now, if I'm still alive and healthy, I will remember that I was sitting in an AMC theater on seat N6 watching a Spider-Man movie. And that's what I want to leave you with. That sense of wonder that I feel, and I hope conveys to you how much I love this movie, and how much I will watch it again, and how much I am highly recommending for you to watch this. So thank you for tuning into the review. If you really enjoyed it, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. drop a like, please leave me a comment. Tell me what you thought of the movie, especially, hopefully, please, if you can, people are watching, like I said, try to avoid spoilers if you can. Just tell me if you dug it, if you didn't, or if you're going to put a spoiler, give a warning so people can know and, not get it ruined for themselves. Because again, I think this is an incredible ride and I don't want anybody to not experience that. And if, please follow me on my socials. And of course, please, please, please take care of each other. Stay safe.